Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my channel, Life, Home, and My Linux Journeys. And those Linux journeys have carried me into the BSD journeys, and now I'm looking at a Gentoo based distribution. And I'll be honest, I've been really enjoying myself. There's been a learning curve, no doubt, but there always will be. Even if you go from, say, Debian to Arch Linux, you're going to have a learning curve. So that was to be expected. And now that I've lived in it for a little while, I'm debating. I think I'm going to keep it around for a little while, and you'll see why here in a little while. So this is Redcore Linux, and it's based on Gentoo, and the country of origin is in Romania. It tries to be compatible as best it can. They've already pre-compiled a lot of software, and as you'll see, there'll be several ways of getting software. Let's get started. Okay, so this journey, rightfully so, should begin on redcorelinux.org, their homepage. Here's where you'll get your news, your download. You can connect to the forum, look at their documentation, bug trackers, get repositories, donate, and contact. If you go to the news and you look here, the news status update, it tells you more about Sisyphus and Basile. There's some changes here. He also gives you examples of the different Sisyphus commands: hybrid install, uninstall, force install, with brief description about what they do. You keep going down here and reading through. After the examples, we'll see it says instructions. It says, unfortunately, the new design requires that the new version of Basile and Sisyphus to be installed before anything else. A simple system upgrade is not enough, and manual intervention is required. Now, I saw this just by luck because I was researching Redcore before I ever installed it. And I just found this. To me, this warning should be on their home page, right here where you can see it immediately, but it's not. And here's the link. It's under News Status Update. So I did these things, luckily, because I saw where it instructed. It said that, well, here it says, the above instructions are valid for every Redcore Linux install you may have, no matter how old it is, even for fresh installs. You must follow them before performing any other package installation or system upgrade. Failing to do so will likely break your system, since the new design is not backward compatible. You have been warned, with 3 exclamation points. So this, like I said, this is incredibly important, and this should have been in your face when you went to their homepage, but it's not. Here's the link. Give it a look. All right, so Redcore uses Sisyphus for a package manager, and here's the wiki for Sisyphus, and you'll get lost in here. This is a lot of stuff that you can do with Sisyphus. It's I can't say it reminds me of Pac-Man, but Pac-Man has a ton of commands and usages as well. This is going to be pretty handy. Again, I'll make sure the links get in the description. Now, Redcore Linux does not use systemd. It uses OpenRC right here. And here's the OpenRC system to systemd cheat sheet. So if you're used to systemd, you can look at here and see what you used to do, and then you can see here what you need to do now. We'll cover that a little more. I think it's important that you know that it's a non-systemd operating system. Here's a OpenRC wiki, and I'll make sure this will tell you even more than that other one will. Now, I was wondering about it installing VirtualBox, and I found this again under the News VirtualBox. I didn't do any of this stuff. I didn't have to. It was in Sisyphus GUI, and that's where I installed it from. But I did glean a very nice command right here. If you're ever curious whether you've got VirtualBox and all the stuff installed, like the additions, extension pack, the modules, and the DKMS, that command will get it for you, which I thought was a nice command to have in your pocket. All right. Here is the Redcore Linux project forum, and you'll see a while ago this said today. That says yesterday. So it's pretty active is what I'm saying. System upgrade here. If you're going to eventually have to upgrade, here's the instructions for doing so. And I'll make sure this gets in the show notes. DistroWatch lists them based on Gentoo out of the country Romania. You might ask, where is Romania? Well, it's right here. That's Romania right there. Ukraine is right here. So they're real close to Ukraine and all the stuff that's going on over there today. So just know that that's happening here. So that's going to cover the links that I have used for my installation and for my knowledge on how to use Redcore Linux. It's obviously different. So let's go on to my other notes. Okay, so let's bring up my notes. And these are the links that I have used, starting with their home page and going all the way down to bugs and system upgrade manual intervention required. And to get in touch, contact at redcorelinux.org. So it's just that easy to get in touch with somebody. They also have a Facebook page. Now, this stuff here I've copied and pasted right off of the web links that we just went through, or web pages that we just went through. This is, I found this one sentence curious. It says, and portage utils, which provides an apt-get YAML-like interface to these commands to assist newcomer people transitioning from Debian or Red Hat-based systems to Gentoo. I don't really get that. It's a package manager that works. So anyway, here's the commands gleaned right off of that page we went through. Install, update, upgrade. Here's the one you're going to want to run at least after you've installed some packages if you're using Sisyphus. And it's SPM-SYNC. I'm saying that stands for Sisyphus Package Manager Sync. That's what I'm thinking. All right. Now, right off of that website, too, I showed you this was the section that should have been right up front in everybody's face as soon as they went to Redcore, and especially if it's pertinent today. And I guess it is. The information's still there. So I run these. And one more time, I'm going to say, this says do it before you install any packages. And I did that on this machine. Failing to do so will likely break your system since the new design is not backward compatible. You have been warned. And, I read that earlier, but I do think it's very important. Okay, here's that command. When you install something with portage directly, emerge, Sisyphus is not aware of that package and it does not track it in its database. Use this option to synchronize Sisyphus portage's package database. So there's the command, and we'll get to that here in just a very short time, but I'll show you what that means. All right, so I brought it to the Discover store. Go ahead and bring it up. We'll try to keep this as quick as possible. And if we go to settings, you'll see here that we're enabled to FlatHub. Now, the first time you go here, a little dialog box will jump up and ask you, do you want to enable it? I enabled it here. This is before I installed anything, other than I got through the upgrade or the whatever you want to call this, reconfigure portage. So I closed it out, and then I run this command, flatpak install flathub space org.kde.kdenlive, and that installed Kdenlive. I thought at that point that was the only thing I had as a flat pack, but I was wrong, and I'll show you that here as well in a little bit. Now, I did install OBS Studio. You'll see an asterisk there. Let me scoot down here. Another asterisk. OBS Studio, when I first installed it through Sisyphus, it came on and it recorded just fine. But let me show you the actual discrepancy once I get back up here where I belong. I got it opened up here. I got OBS Studio installed here, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know what microphone that's picking up, but in the past, you should be able to click on it, that gear cog, go to filters, and say add, and they would jump up here, and you'd have options, compressor, noise gate, some other things. But you can see it's not here. And I searched, it took me several hours to finally decide that I could not get this to work. Or I could get it to work, but I could not get the filters to work. Or even to show up. Alright. Close that. Let's go back to my notes here. So that's how I that's how I installed KDE Live. And what I did was I said, okay, that's coming in through the package. And I installed it through the Sisyphus GUI, which will be in your menu under System here. Sisyphus GUI. And I had that problem. So I said, okay, well, let me try another way. And there's a way using here the --e build, and we'll get to that some more here in a second, and install it that way. And I thought, okay, surely that's going to get it. I had the same problem. So I was just sitting there, and I went on to something else and thinking about something else, and it dawned on me to check flat packs. So I opened up a terminal and looked for, make this bigger here, and I looked to see what all was installed. And I couldn't believe it. There was a bunch of stuff in here installed that I installed either through Discover Store or Sisyphus, and it came in as a flat pack, and I was not aware of that. Anyway, in this one right here, we should see OBS Studio. Where would that be? Right here. And it was not listed to start with. So I said, okay, well, let me uninstall it, and then I'm going to install OBS as a flat pack. It works. I may be able to bring it up right here and show you filters without messing anything up. So it has filters through the flat pack. No, don't stop recording. Get back down there in that system tray. So that was a discrepancy that I had with OBS Studio. And I don't know that that's got anything to do with Redcore, or if it has more to do with KDE Plasma. I just don't know. Or the combination of two. I just don't know. I just know I had to install it as a flat pack to get it to work. Alright, so we got through that. The two that I actually installed. Let me show you this. And it says right here 43 flat packs. And I said, what the heck? I did not install that many flat packs. And then I run that flat pack list, and I seen where all of them was there. So they're using flat packs for a lot of stuff, and actually I'm okay with that. And there was a great example with OBS Studio that how the flat pack works and the regular repository does not work. Anyway, so got through Sisyphus, the GUI. I installed these programs right here. Core fonts, that's the Microsoft TrueType core fonts for Comic Sans and Times New Roman through the Discovery Store. And I installed using different methods. I wanted to see if they all worked, and they do. Pysol, Alright, Flatpak, I did that right off the bat. Using Sisyphus install, just regular install without any extra flags there. And here's that command I ran a while ago. to show you all the stuff that you have installed for VirtualBox. Coming down. Now, we already said previously that we're using they're using OpenRC for their init system. And let's just copy this. We'll check the status of SSHD. You can see it's listed as stop. And I'm going to up arrow and bring that back. And let's try this. And it started, basically running. That's how you check the status of a service, and then just simply change the in there to start, stop, restart. If you want it to start up at boot, then it's a little different command. You run RC update. Now this is all with root privileges. Add space, and then whatever that service is, in this case I've used SSHD, this indicates the run level. So the default run level, it's going to open up with no special flags or anything. It's just going to open up and run. Usually the default run level is, well, in my experience, that's what I've had to use, or I have used. If you wanted to check all of them, that's a good way right here. This right here will list all the startup scripts at your disposal, including WPA supplicant, network manager, dmessage, dbus, cronies even running or available. I don't know that it's running. That's the init system for Redcore Linux based on Gentoo. By the way, I've referred a bunch of times to the Gentoo. I was referred a bunch of times to the Gentoo wiki or subject during my learning of Redcore. So they are based off of Gentoo, so it only makes sense that, you know, they'll use their commands and stuff. One of the things I think is kind of weird, system login soundbite, it always starts before my desktop even loads. I think it should actually start after the desktop loads and let you know that it's ready, because it's playing music and it could be loading. Let's run this command right here. This is supposed to sync what's been installed through Sisyphus and ported. And I just did this, so this shouldn't take too long, but you can see it's syncing the SPM packages. Sisyphus package manager. Alright, so that's done. Now, let's go bring up, not going to be there, it's going to be here. Let's bring up Discover. When it gets through loading, let's look for Audacity, and you can see it's not registering. Even after I run that sync command, it's still not registering that it is installed as a Flatpak. That could have something to do with it. Alright, so let's get to the eBuild option. The eBuild option can be used to install pretty much anything from the portage tree in a similar way to Gentoo Linux. It behaves like portage get bin pkg option and will prefer to reuse packages if found. Reuse binary packages if found, which means a package that's already built. To satisfy the dependencies for the source eBuild packages, speeding up the installation, the eBuild option can be used all the time, as it will fall back to install binary packages if no compilation is required. Meaning, if it sees there's a binary, it'll go ahead and install that and you'll be done. So the eBuild opens up the options to, it increases your search results, is what I'm saying. This is how I did for C Matrix. At first it wasn't listed without the eBuild option. But when I ran it with the eBuild option, it found 5 applications that matched, but the only one I was interested in was C Matrix. And it works. I've been waiting here. I want to search. My favorite text editor is Featherpad. And I'm using Notepad QQ right now, and I tell you, I just like Featherpad. So let's do a search for Featherpad. Oops, it's going to say I don't have sudo privileges, I think. Nope, it actually found it. So let's go sudo --ebuild. See, it's fetching updates. It's syncing right now, and I thought because I didn't use sudo in the search command that it would have said permission denied, it couldn't update. But as we can see here, it is. For some reason I got two open. And I like this wallpaper they're using right here. Really nice. But let's change that, because I found another one that I like. That one's pretty nice. But I like this one. Let's say okay. Let's minimize that terminal while it's working. We give you the binary. I like that. And if you hadn't noticed, this is KDE Plasma Desktop. I discover new options every day. Everything was a learning curve. That's awesome, because the stuff that's in here makes a lot of sense. You just have to find it. While that's installed in there, I wonder if we can go through what I've actually installed. Notepad QQ, nothing there. Games, I've installed Circus Linux, Extreme Tux Racer, Super Tux 2, Super Tux Kart, and Tux Football. Card games, all three of the major ones there. Luchas and Steam, I hadn't installed those. And Tux Puck, which is kind of funny, fun. It's like air hockey. Under graphics, Blender, GIMP, Inkscape I installed. Krita I installed. I believe it was a flat pack as well. Nomax is a flat pack as well, I believe. Under the internet, I installed Firefox. And I think I installed BitTorrent. I'm getting a prompt here. Oops. Type in Y and hit enter so we can see the Featherpad. Give that a second so I don't have to, it may not show up in the menu, or it might mess up me looking at the menu. Just give that a second. So we're merging the binary. App Editor's Featherpad using Gentoo. Extracting the info. Icon cache. Desktop, there we go. But I don't know if it's in the menu. Let's find out. It's in the menu. Let's open it. Alright. The Featherpad is installed and apparently working. I just need to set it up. Under Internet, we got Firefox and BitTorrent. I already said that. Under Multimedia, I got Asunder, CD Ripper, Audacious. Now, for some reason, that's in there twice, and I think what happens is, if you install it through the Sisyphus GUI, it doesn't pick up in the Discover, and what I did was probably say, well, it's saying not even installed, and I installed it through the Discover store, or vice versa, and now it's showing up twice. I could fix that, I believe, just by right-clicking and say hide it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to uninstall it. Audacity, Recero, burning software, Celluloid for watching videos or listening to music, DVD-NG, GUBC View is here and installed, Handbrake, K3B, Kdenlive, MPV player, OBS Studio. Phonon was installed. I hadn't used it. I've opened it up and looked. QMMP is sort of like the old Winamp. It's not as near as good as Winamp in my opinion, but it's there. It works. Simple Screen Recorder. I think I installed that. And XFburn. Under Office, I hadn't installed anything that's not here now. I did install the XFCE4 terminal. I'm going to have to figure a way to get used to console, the default terminal, but I just hadn't got that far. Under System now, here's a bunch of other stuff. The Android file transfer. Balena Etcher came in with it. By default, boxes I installed, Cool Retro Term I installed, CPUX I installed, DV Disaster came in with something else, and I'm not sure. It may have came in with K3B, I doubt it, or DVDNG, I don't know. I just know when I got through installing all my disk burning software, that when I went to my menu, this was in there. And it opens, so it's apparently installed. Fedora Media Writer, that's a flat pack, H-top. Info Center, let's open that up. 526. You could get a lot of information here. I have looked and looked. What is that logo? Maybe I'll remember to come back to that. So we got Featherpad using the eBuild. I installed I got Ubuntu font family, as well as the MS Core fonts or Core fonts. Here's the XF or the burning software I installed. If you're ever curious about when did you actually install or how long have you been running a operating system, the stat command works in Redcore. This was installed 10/23. Today is 10/30, so exactly 1 week. This is a good command here, but this one's a lot easier to remember. If you ever want to run across this, I might as well include it. If your clock is ever wrong or you move to a different location, you can change the date by sudo date and a series of numbers here. First 2 hour, next minute, next month, day, and year with no spaces or colons, and that'll adjust your date at least temporarily until you set up the time zone. All right, so it bothered me. I could not hit Control-Alt-T and bring up a terminal like I just did. So I found a workaround, or I found a way to put it there. Let's go to Settings, System Settings, Shortcuts. Go to Shortcuts. Right here, you'll see the applications. Here's the XFCE terminal. So you go down here and click Add, find whatever software it is you're wanting to create a shortcut for. Right here is XFCE terminal. If I click that, this would light as OK, and I'd say OK, but I'm going to click cancel because it's already here, right here. So now to set the keyboard shortcut itself, highlight on the left click it, and then over here it'll say no active shortcuts. You click on that and it'll prompt you to put in your shortcut, and that's how I did it. Control-Alt-T. Now I'm fixing to get to this, so I might as well get to it right here. In my opinion, I like to take things that are not necessary out of the equation, and I went to background services here, and some of these probably still could go off. I don't know. Take your time, make sure you don't take something out that's going to be important, but I disabled Bluetooth from starting up right away. It actually tells you it's running. You can pause the service. And I took out touchpad because this is a tower. It does not need touchpad. Now, if I ever install a touchpad, I can redo it. So you can eliminate some services from running, and it may make a difference in startup time or improve performance. It may be negatable performance, but it's there. I did it myself. Here's the settings panel, by the way, where you can go in and change. Now, this is not the typical KDE Plasma settings that I'm used to seeing. So they've got their own spin here, and everything in here is really nice. Let's click on About the System. There's the same stuff here. If I click on Show More Information, it'll bring up the Software Manager or the System Monitor. Right here. Oh, System Profiler, that's hard info. I installed that. So just a little thing, if you like me and you like to play around sometimes, for instance, based on the old movie. This is called No More Secrets, and Sneakers is a separate software. I hit escape, get out of that. Hit anything, get out of it. So I installed No More Secrets, but I could not get the sneakers portion of this to work. So I went and I found, let's see, right here's the web page, and I'll make sure this gets in the link. I went there, I CD'd into a temporary folder, and then I run this git space clone space, and then that address that I copied right straight from the website, this website, and then I CD'd, I run that git clone with that direction there, path, and then I CD'd in the No More Secrets, and then I said make NMS, abbreviated for No More Secrets, as well as make sneakers. Now, that was not an option when I installed it through eBuild. If it would have, and why I couldn't get sneakers to run. And then I run make sneakers, and then I run sudo make install. Well, NMS was already installed, so it just briefly passed over that, but then it installed sneakers, so now I can run the sneakers command. Nate over at the Linux Saloon brought that up when they were doing terminal applications, and I'd seen the movie Sneakers years ago, but I didn't. I think it's pretty cool. Here's where I say just remove unwanted services that's not needed at startup. In my case, I did touchpad and Bluetooth, disabled them, took them out of the picture. And folks, I think we're pretty much through with my notes here. And I'm trying to keep the video, there's a lot more I could talk about. In other words, I'm trying to keep the video short, and good luck with that. There's so much to say. This is just one set of notes that I've already put together just for this video. Let me minimize that. Let's see. So this is Redcore Linux Hardened. And we see we've got 43 flat packs installed. That rivals Fedora. But to be honest, this is my opinion. To be honest, I have not found but a couple little discrepancies. And one of them I showed you, that was with the OBS Studio with no filters. I couldn't get those to work through the default application. I had to do through the Flatpak. So what? It works. It works great. It's working right now. I just really, it, like I said, full disclosure, it does take a minute to install a lot of software. It took me probably, I'm going to guess, at least a half a day to get the software that I desired, the ones that's in the notes here, installed. Yeah, here we go. So it's not in a one big location here, but you can see I installed a lot of software, and it took probably a half a day after I got installed, and I ran the post installation stuff, did that, rebooted, and got everything going. Then I started installing or searching for and installing the programs that I wanted. It takes a little bit. It works. What do I care if it takes 30 seconds or 3 minutes? Unless you're in a hurry, it's okay. Well, that sounded bad, didn't it? Full disclosure, I think that Redcore Linux is on to something. And people may say, oh, it's not really Gentoo. I don't care. It's an operating system that's happens to be based on Gentoo, and it's solid. It does not use systemd, so yes, a lot of people think systemd one day may just explode and everything will quit working because of it. Well, this system right here will be safe from that anyway. It's not safe from me. Anyway. All right, so let's get out of here. That's going to conclude this video. Okay, so that's going to conclude this video. I hope you've enjoyed looking at Redcore, and I actually hope you install it. Unfortunately, they only come with the KDE Plasma or Plasma by KDE desktop. And I'm not saying you can't install something else over it. I'm just saying that the default ISO is going to be KDE Plasma, and I've actually became accustomed a little bit to Plasma. There's a ton of options, and I discover a couple just about every day, it seems like. Nice little ones. So anyway, this is Redcore Linux. It's based on Gentoo. Other than a couple hiccups that I had, the rest had, and I explained earlier, it's been a rock solid operating system. I have not had a single hiccup other than the ones that I told you about, and I overcome that really quick. So it's a very good distribution. I'm going to keep Redcore on this, and if it continues to impress me, you can bet I'm going to put it on a more updated machine. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Peace out. Y'all be kind to each other. Bye.